Okay, hi everyone and welcome. I'm Adam Berezin from MS Dynamics World, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us for today's session, Automate Your Dynamics GP AP Processes with Mekorma Multi-Batch Management. The session is going to be presented by Craig Clapman, who's the president of Mekorma. We're very happy to have Craig here with us today. So before we get started, I just want to mention you can submit any questions you have during the session through the Q&A box on the right side of your screen, and Craig will try to get to all of them by the end of the event. So without further delay, I'm going to turn it over to Craig.
Thank you, Adam. Welcome, everyone. I'm very happy you can make it. And I'm excited to show you our new multi-batch management feature, or you can call it a service, that adds on to Mekorma MICR. And we've just come out with this. We've been working on it for a while, and we have a lot of customers now who are starting to implement this, and I've been using it for a little bit, and it's very exciting. Let me tell you what it is first. So what it is it automates your payment process once your invoices are in. So unlike a lot of the other automations out there that automate the importing of invoices, we take it where they leave off. Okay, and we automate the creation of payment batches and the printing of checks and the generation of EFTs. As you'll see on my screen, there's a whole list of things we automate. The selection, that's the checking entity, that's the building of batches, as you would do in the select checks window in Dynamics GP. You don't have to use that anymore. They'll all be automated for you. It sends out approval requests to using the Mekorma secure approval workflow. It can print your edit list for you automatically for all those batches, print the checks for all those batches and all your companies all at the same time. It can process your EFT remittances and email those off or print them, or just process the payment batch that's ready for file generation. Post the check to an EFT batch, generate the EFT files, and generate the Safe Pay files. All those processes, they're very manual and labor intensive now in Dynamics GP, and are done one batch at a time and one company at a time. You can do now all automatically in single processes. So I think the best thing to do to illustrate me is actually show you the product in action. So I'm going to flip over back to GP here, and once you're set up, and which is there's a minimal setup involved, and you have your criteria all saved, and what you're going to do each week is you're going to come into an action board, and the first thing you would do is you would build your batches. So that comes up as your first action, and you pick a process ID. Now, I'm picking end of the week, and you may ask yourself, well, what is a process ID? What does that mean? So I'm going to show you what that means. A process ID is a group of checkbooks within companies for each payment type that you desire or select, grouped with a build ID. And your build ID is your criteria, your selection criteria, what vendors you're going to select, what processes you're going to select, whether you're going to do one check per invoice or one check per vendor. All that is in each build ID. You assign a build ID to a company and checkbook, and you say, this is what I want to do in this company and checkbook. And let's just take a quick look at what the build ID is. Okay, as I said, it's your selection criteria. And for those of you who do this process, I'm sure the screen looks somewhat familiar to you. It's very much like your select checks window in Dynamics GP. It has all the same options. You can do your filter criteria by vendor ID, name, by vendor class, payment priority, all the same things. Even discount and due dates you can use, because we have a special window to do an offset date. So instead of having to be a hard-coded date like in GP where you pick a specific actual date, you pick I want 7 days from the calendar day, or 10 days, or whatever you choose, and then that's always saved. So that's why that's how we allow you to do your criteria just once for each set of criteria you use, save it as a build ID, and then assign it to your checkbooks and companies. So that's how you set that up. We also have on this window the select by voucher checkbook and select by vendor checkbook, which are features of Mekorma MICR that allow you to assign a checkbook to a specific voucher or vendor, so they'll only be paid out of that checkbook even if they meet your other criteria, it has to be the right checkbook, and that works with our product too. So all your criteria is in here. You're doing the build IDs. You assign your build IDs to your companies and checkbooks, and this is a one-time setup. And then when it comes time to run your checks each week or each month or twice a week or however often you do it, you select build payment batches, you select your process ID, and then all you do is you simply hit process. So if you look in the lower right hand of my screen, you'll see that there's a progress bar, and that's just telling you what batch it's building and what company it's in, and that will run while this builds. And if you look at the process ID I showed, there were about 12 different potential batches to be built, 12 combinations of build IDs, checkbooks, and companies. So right now it's going through all 12 of those, and as if you were sitting in front of your computer, entering all that information, select checks, and hitting build batch, and then going on to the next one and hitting build batch and logging into the next company, that's what it's doing for you behind the scenes. Okay, and that progress bar is letting you know what's going on. This will take a couple minutes, I think, to run. We'll just see how long it takes. It looks like it's at third company now, so it's moving along pretty good. And one thing I'll note while we're seeing this finish up here, on this process window, you don't see it on this version that I'm running, but in our next version coming out will be a stop button that will allow you to stop that process. If maybe you're running 100 batches and you decide you want to stop it for some reason, you'll be able to stop it and then resume any of the processes that you run. So it's completing processing, and there, we're done. So let's see what we got. Okay. Well, according to our report, we have 4 batches that were built in balanced business, 4 in complete solutions, and 4 in Fabricam. Okay, there's some check batches and some EFT batches. So that's 12 batches, 12 payment batches, and it took 1 minute and 45 seconds. Okay, and now you have 12 batches ready to be printed, or the EFTs ready. Okay, so once you've done that, you've come into this window and you've built your batches, the next thing you do is you process your checks and EFTs. And what you will see here is that here are our 12 batches that we just built. Okay, and you can mark the ones you want to print the checks for if they're a check batch, or generate the EFT remittances for if they're an EFT batch, or you can just simply mark all, which is what I will do. And then, again, that's all you do. You hit mark all, and you hit process. And again, the progress window comes up, and it is now printing checks for the check batches. It's processing the EFT files and generating the remittances for the EFT files. And while that's going on, what I'd like to do is flip back here to my PowerPoint. And as you can see, I'm flipping back to the PowerPoint and doing different things, because you can leave this process running and still use your computer and do different things. It's not a macro. You don't have to worry about it breaking or stopping. And other things that you may want to know, we respect all the business rules that you've already set up in Dynamics GP. So that's for all our processes: selecting, printing, posting, even company access. So if somebody does not have permission in GP to build batches or to print checks, they can't do it with MMM either, multi-batch management. All those rules are already set up in GP as you've set them up, and we just read that and we respect that. Even company access, they won't be able to see the companies that they don't have access to. They won't even know that there are batches there. It will just ignore those for that user. Another thing to know is that this doesn't take away anything from your Dynamics GP processing. It only adds to it. Okay, once those batches are built, if you didn't want to print them right away, you wanted to remove a check or add a check or not pay a certain invoice. You can edit those in your standard GP windows. They create regular GP batches, and you can still use them as you would any batch in GP. You can use any of the editing windows there, edit check batch, edit checks, select checks. And you can still use your approval systems, either in Mekorma MICR, when you'll send out the approvals automatically, or GP. And then if you were to come into the action board, you would see that the batches were built, but they're not ready to be printed until they're approved. And you can use either the GP built-in approval or the Mekorma MICR secure approval workflow. And with that, I'm going to go back and let's see where we stand, and if we're done yet in our GP. Okay, looks like we're still going a little bit. We have 4 more left to do. So we've done 8 batches already that we've processed for EFT or printed the checks. And in a few seconds here, we'll get our reports and we'll see what we came up with. And it's logging me back into the company where I started. It's another thing to know about the product. You just choose any company to run it from, and you'll always be brought back to that company. So you don't have to go in and out of other companies. You can just operate from one for this process. And we are done. We've now printed or processed EFTs for all 12 batches. So we'll look at the reports. This tells us that all these were done. All 12 of them, and that took just under 3 minutes to do 12 batches, which is obviously much quicker than any human could do that. Okay? Now that we've printed our checks and EFTs, we would go in here to post batches. Now, you may notice when you look at this window, there's like 4 batches showing. Okay? And you say, I thought there were 12. Well, you notice they all say check batches. So the reason that is I have options here. And in my options, I selected to post my EFT immediately after printer send. Because with EFTs, I don't have to worry about the printer jamming or anything like that. So it's safe to just go ahead and post them. I could even go so far as to generate the EFT file after posting. I wouldn't even have to do that as a separate step. Or I could generate the Safe Pay file as well for all my payments. And all that can happen all with that one process action. Okay? You can get the reports that we're looking at emailed to you. So if you have a long process, maybe you're doing 100 batches or 200 or 300 batches, and it might take more than 3 minutes, and you want to go away and do something and not keep checking your computer, you can have an email sent to wherever you are, or your phone or whatever, and that will have the report and let you know what was done and that it's ready. You can also print edit lists here and have them sent to a printer or a file. So those are some of the options you can set. I'm not going to go through the posting because it's more of the same. It's just marking them, hitting process, gone. They do it. Okay, I will show you the generate EFT step though. So this one is a little different. You see all the different combinations of checkbooks and companies that are possible. And in a few of them, I have money. I have the dollar amount. That means that there are EFT files to generate. So if I were to do that, I would mark those that I want to generate the EFT file for. And then I would hit process. And it would create my EFT files and put them wherever that location is set up in GP. I could run more processes. So I was running more batches that went to the same checkbook, and that would combine the files. So it's not batch per batch. If I want to combine, if I want to do a batch per batch, I can have it done automatically. If I want to combine several batches into one EFT file, I can use this window and wait till they're all combined together and then mark the ones I want and generate the EFTs. And for Safe Pay, it's a similar thing. The window will dry here, and you'll see that there are some money in the Safe Pay files. And there's some warnings on a couple of them that must not be set up for Safe Pay. So this has a lot of validation checking in it and make sure that you're good to go before you start the process. And that really is multi-batch management. It's just that simple. You just come to the action board, pick your action, select your batches, and hit go. Process. So with that, I think we're ready for questions. So I'm going to turn it over back to Adam. I think he may have some questions.
Great, thanks, Craig. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, we'll give people a few minutes to kind of collect their thoughts. You can type them into the Q&A box on the right side of your screen. So, Craig, we'll just give people a minute or so to kind of collect their thoughts.
Sure.
Craig, somebody is asking if you can please show processing across multiple companies.
Oh, well, I did. Those 12 batches were 4 in each of 3 companies. Let's see. What can I show you? We sell batches and post checks, and you'll see here in the company column, there's 2 batches from Balance Business, 1 from Complete Solutions, and 1 from Fabricam. Those are 3 companies. And so in the other windows, that was the same thing. And so that actually built batches in 3 companies, printed and processed the EFTs in 3 companies, and then here you can see the post. So that actually was across companies.
All right, another question. Someone's asking a few areas we are looking to improve our AP processes are 1, auto signing of checks, and 2, vendor portal into payment and invoice status. Are any of these addressed with this new product or your existing products?
The first one for the signing, yes, that is a feature of Mekorma MICR. And we have ways for you to set up rules based on various criteria such as dollar amount as to when checks should be signed. We have ways to say whose signature should be on it based on who approves it, if you use a secure approval workflow or just have a default signature. You can have 1 or 2 signatures, and that's all part of Mekorma MICR, which is what is necessary to run MMM. You don't have to run MMM if you're running Mekorma MICR. It's an option, but that's built into Mekorma MICR. The vendor portal is not addressed in any of our products.
All right, let's see if we have another question in here. Someone's asking, when we make a check batch, we print to a text file the check batch detail so we can upload it to another program for approval. Is there a way to export or print to a text file before you print the check batches?
There is not a built-in way to do that. We have our own approval system. I mean, I guess that we use, or that is designed to be used with Mekorma MICR. So there is no out-of-the-box way to print to a text file. That would have to be a custom job to get that.
Okay, another question. Someone's asking, does the setup define which companies a user can work with?
The access in GP defines that. So the only setup we have in terms of companies would be here. You can define what the test companies are. So if you wanted to try it out or not be charged for certain companies, then you can mark them as test companies. But in terms of which companies users are able to work with, that's all based on what companies you have access to in GP.
Another question just came in. Someone says, hope I didn't miss this in the beginning, but can you do multiple companies from one of the included companies, or does it need to be done through SA login?
It does not need to be done through SA login, and yes, you can do multiple companies. You log into any one of the companies where MMM, where you have MMM Act enabled, and then you can process for all your enabled companies from that one company. And as I showed, you can do them at the same time. You don't have to do company by company. You select all the batches you want, or you build it into your process ID for all the companies you want to be included, and you just do it from one company in one process.
Let's just see if any more questions come in. Once again, you can submit the questions in a Q&A box on the right side of your screen. Craig, do you have your contact information that you can show them in case people just want to ask you questions offline as well?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
That's me. You can reach me. It's very simple, Craig@Mekorma.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
We'll just give people another minute or so to collect their thoughts and see if they have any additional questions. We do actually have another question. Someone's asking, how is this product priced?
So we price this product in a scalable model. So we price it at a per batch price. Right now we have a minimum $50 per month fee, and that includes 20 batches. And then any batch above that is 99 cents per batch, and that's for all the processing. So it doesn't matter if you do, printing and posting and building. It's just 99 cents for that batch.
Let's just see if we get any more questions. These are some good questions so far. Another one just came in. Someone's asking, is there a report that shows the detail of the check selected and the amount paid so that it can be reviewed before the checks are printed?
Well, if you use Mekorma Secure Approval Workflow, which is in Mekorma MICR, then there is a way that when if you're the approver, you can drill down from the approval screen and see what's in the batch, and you can see all the different invoices are being paid for each check. You can also, another option is to have the edit lists automatically generated and have those sent somewhere. And that's another way to see what's in the batch before it's printed.
See if there's any more questions coming in. Let's wait a few more seconds. Okay, looks like we have another one that just came in. So question is, on EFT batches, what information is sent to the bank and the vendor, and is an email sent to the vendor?
So the EFT functionality is basically based on what's in GP. So you can send an email to the vendor if you configure that in GP, and you can have that done automatically. It's done automatically when you do the process step. That's all up to the GP setup. And then the information that's contained in the remittance or in the EFT file, again, it's all the same that you'd set up in GP. We don't have any things separate. We just capitalize on what's already there.
We'll just hang on for another couple of seconds to see if anybody else has any more questions. All right, looks like those are all the questions. If you have a question and you want to send it to Craig, Craig's email is right up there, as he mentioned earlier. Anyways, I just want to thank everybody so much for attending today. Hope you found the session informative. We did record the session, and what we'll do is we'll actually send everybody a link to view the session once it's been posted on demand, hopefully in the next couple of days. Craig, I want to give a big thanks to you as well for taking the time to present to our audience today. Hope you enjoyed that as well.
Thank you, Abby. It was great.
Great. All right, and so why don't we end here, and hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Thanks again.
Thank you.